Oh, hello, hello, all you lovely beings that come across these videos of Christ consciousness, which are inspired by the Christ consciousness self-mastery deck created by created by Amanda Ellis, illustrated by Jane Delaford Taylor. This is a lovely, lovely guide and support for you to connect with the Christ consciousness energies and qualities within you, and it will activate things within you. It will bring things for self-reflection, perhaps contemplation, maybe even things you're like, I don't quite agree with that, but pay attention to that. We're not meant to agree with everything, but pay attention to when you're like something is stricken within you where you're like, is there something there for you to look at? Just as much too, the things that bring you joy and ease and grace, have a moment to explore that as well. I'm Gina Libido, Soul Inspired Reflections. I've been your guide along this journey, and it's always a pleasure to do this work and bring forth energy and connect with the energies and light within me, the light within you, the light within all of life. And this is day 55, our final day, working one-on-one with this deck and the Christ consciousness energies within you. And I hope this journey has inspired you to connect deeper with yourself, deeper with life, and just bring in, as we saw in card 54, that purity and innocence and childlike wonder into your life. And remember, it's accessible all the time because that light resides within you. That joy and purity resides within you, and it can support you to get through even your darkest hours, right? Where the strength arrives, as we saw a few days ago. And when we are under stress and pressure, all of us have the ability to rise up and start again and start anew. As we were reminded in the purity card, the cycles, and start anew, start afresh. We're in the cycles of life and death, even the symbolic life and death experiences that you, myself, go through in a purification process and ascension of the soul and awakening. One must be willing to let go and let their identity that they've built up over the years die. So you can just be your soul essence, your I am presence can fully come into physical embodiment. The avatar, if you will, as so many refer to it, descends within you and upon you. And here I am just burning a little bit of Palo Santo instead of sage. Sometimes sage can feel so heavy, and I just feel really light today. And I find Palo Santo to be a lovely clearing scent and perhaps a little more joyful sometimes. So our final card in our journey together is spiritual practice. Spiritual practice, which it can ask for a better card, I feel, to end on, and maybe even begin. It's card number 48, which is a 12. For those of you that would like to do the numerology, you're welcome to do that on your own. I don't do it unless I feel really nudged to by spirit. And I'm just taking in this card a little bit more because I love a little ritual and spiritual practice. I really do. Being on this journey with you has been a ritual and spiritual practice and a commitment, because I started it months ago and it's taken me months to get through it. But to know that we all got through it. I got through it when I felt the energy rise and a commitment, right? Because there were some days where I'm just like, I just don't have the energy. And it was important to me to complete this cycle, especially as we come to the end of the year of 2023. I know for myself, I want to complete the things I started. And I want to do it with love. I want to do it with purpose and be fully present as I do them and focused. Because for me, I don't know about you, with all the energies this year, even up into the last 6 months of this year, for me, it has been really a challenge to stay focused and complete things from beginning to end. Even the smallest things like laundry, washing dishes, like washing them, drying them, putting them away. It'd be like washing them, putting in the drying rack, and then they'd sit there for the week because I still use them, right? When laundry, maybe sitting on my bed to be folded and put away. Like it's been a very interesting experience where it's like my bandwidth for things just like, oh, okay. So I've had to constantly return myself to center and focus and just like, let me just complete this one thing from beginning to end, even if it was, okay, I'm going to wash the dishes, dry them, put them away. Just complete it, and how it felt so good. And that can be part of the ritual, right? Like I make my coffee in the morning, side, and take in the morning as it begins. And how might I be back in my daily ritual that brings me joy, and it sets my day up for success. It sets my day up for success every time. Just as important as it is for me, like to rinse off in the morning and feel the cool water over my face and to kind of shower, even if I don't wash my hair, but to go through that ritual of starting the day fresh, releasing the night, because the night is like a winter time when we go to sleep. Our soul does a lot of work when we sleep because the soul just keeps going. The body is the one that needs the rest to catch up and to acclimate, to heal, to calibrate. So resting is so important. So how might you make and be aware that you are in a ceremony and ritual every single day? Think about what you do and how you start your day and how you end it. If you didn't start your day a certain way, do you feel a little off that day? Or like, God, things didn't start out right? Or when you actually do your usual routine that becomes so routine, you're unaware of it even occurring, and things just feel good, right? It sets you off on a good start to the day. So pay attention to that. It doesn't have to be so formal of lighting a candle and burning sage and Palo Santo for some of you. For me, I love it. One of the first things I do, I get up, I put the dog outside, I open my front door, I burn a little sage and let it waft through the house and let fresh air in and the new morning in and the new day in, right? Some of you, it may be a little more formal where you're sitting and you spend 10, 15, 20 minutes, an hour in meditation and in prayer, where you do have your altar created and the representation of things that have meaning and purpose for you as you call in spirit and your connection with the divine within you and life. And this altar is actually quite beautiful. And as I'm like, oh, I see Amanda's aura sprays in here. The Metatron spray, it looks like, the amethyst spray. To me, it looks like an archangel. I don't know if that's Metatron or maybe Michael. It would make sense to me if her altar had really any of those angelic representations. The lovely rose quartz crystal, or maybe it's clear quartz. Selenite, the selenite wand, and then looks like an amethyst point, and that beautiful, beautiful flower, and the fire, the light, looking out and either a painting or out the window, and a beautiful landscape of the ocean and the sky and the foothills. How might your own altar represent you, right? Because that is something important. This altar represents the person who created it, the energy of you going into that space. So there's so important a number. Last year I created a series and it was connecting with the directions and creating sacred space for you and an altar. So how might you, maybe I'll re-release those. So how might you take some time, and it doesn't have to be a big space. It could be a small table. It could be a full room or maybe an area outside, or both, where you create a sacred space for you to practice your spiritual ritual, right? It's a structure and routine, as we were talking about routine. And what's your routine in the morning? How does your daily structure begin? Right? Because I know when I fall away from my routine, I don't feel on my foundation that day. It takes me a little more effort to feel present. Right? So what does that mean for you as you start your day in ritual and be purposeful and aware of what you're doing? Right? So I talked about kind of being automatic when making coffee and putting the dog out. But what I didn't mention, what I do in the beginning, I wake up, I kind of stretch my hips and whatnot in bed, and I hug my dog. I pet him. I ask him how his sleep was. There's a moment where it's just very focused. It's like, we're starting another day. Okay, Gus, come on, let's go outside. Let's go potty. And he goes and he does his stretch every morning. He stretches. And then I make my coffee and then I go with him outside. He's already out there, and I sit. And then we sit together. And then I purposefully just take in the morning, and I look at the trees and the birds and the sky, and I feel the cool air on my skin. Sometimes I might play a meditation or listen to something to start the morning, or light music, or I just listen to nature, the nature sounds. And that always feels really good to me. And I splash cold water on my face, wakes me up, especially around my eyes. I just kind of wash the night away, wash the sleep away. So how do you start your morning? What is your structure? What's your foundation? What's your routine? Do some things need to change in your routine? Right? I know today I made a different choice where I chose to eat better and actually ordered something, because I like to order food out, healthier, a nice mixed green salad with some chicken. And it had some nice vinaigrettes and nuts in it, and some other like curry spices that the chicken was marinated in. But I also like the hot food, right? Not just the coolness of the salad. Because I know for me, I need to change my routine. I need to give it more structure. I'm even recognizing that my work, I'm like, okay, I need a little more structure to my day, because if it's like water will take on any structure, right? I can pour this and then it'll take the structure of the table and it'll spread out, right? If right now we're completing this water year, right? Water needs structure, a place to go and weave itself through. Most of your body is water. So what structure are you giving it? What structure are you giving and allowing the energy of your emotions to run through you? The passageway also of energy to come into your light body and being. What structure are you creating to allow God in? To allow your divinity in? To allow your divine union with yourself to come in to fruition, to be in harmony? So you see, the spiritual practice and structure and routine is not just your physical day. It's not just the tangible, it's the unseen aspects of yourself, of the emotional body, the mental body, your spiritual body. And if we're talking about self-mastery, your Christ consciousness energies, your I am presence, how are you creating your foundation, your light body and way of being to allow your I am presence to come into your physical body, allowing the purification of your soul to occur through prayer, through invoking the violet fire, through your daily ritual and practice, and calling on the divine that's within you to support you through this process. Not to pray for someone else to change because you're uncomfortable with them and you want something to happen your way. That's a very egotistical way of praying, talking about bringing that prayer back to yourself and go, okay, God, the higher self, my divine self, help me walk this path and change what needs to be changed within me so I may see with clarity, so I may resolve the harm, the discord within me, so I can show up in full love and purity for myself and another, and still send love to someone else when you're recognizing something's being drawn out within you because you're being challenged, right? How might you focus the energy back inward to the self, and then your prayer becomes something different and even more powerful than before, right? There's this bringing in the higher mind, the higher ego versus the lower ego, when it's just kind of, when you're not ready to look at yourself and everything's someone else's fault, or they need to do this or they need to do that, they don't hear me. No, it's time for you to hear you. It's time for you to hear your higher self. Allow those Christ consciousness energies to come in and be expressed through you and your embodiment and your walk through life. And the way you can support that to occur is your spiritual practice every day to create your structure and routine to support the integration of your I am presence here, now, and every moment. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just make it really simple. And it doesn't have to be just maybe you have a certain religion that you practice. You can create it within your religious practice if you'd like. Or maybe you can create something new for yourself that allows you to augment and have a new relationship with your religious practice and spiritual practice. Because every religion, indigenous group, spiritual practices like shamanic practices, Indian, Native American, right? They all have ritual. There's all spiritual ritual. We see it in Catholicism, Christianity, everything. You see it in your own family, right? We just come out the holiday season. My family, every year we have the same ritual of making tamales on the 23rd, a elephant gift exchange on the 24th, and then a brunch on Christmas Day that's quiet and relaxing, right? But that's become our family ritual, and we look forward to it every year. And for those who get to come, and we still engage those that weren't able to physically make it, right? But that's the ritual we look forward to every year, right? It's the practices that we continue in our ancestry still lives through these rituals, right? But it also changes slightly as we pass down the torch, right? So how might you connect even to your ancestry, that you're purifying the bloodline, you're purifying your soul and bringing all that to this present moment and creating your new structure and routine, or just changing it just a little bit to bring more life into it. Because there's sometimes I just go for a walk and I'm like, that's what we're going to do today. But it still has these components of, I'm going to create a dedicated space in my home where there's altar. And for me, every room in my home has a dedicated space of an altar type presence there. It's just the way it's become. It's the way I like it. And it feels good. And be okay to move things around until you're like, oh, that feels good. Right? Because we're coming to the end of this year. And as we move into 2024, it's time for things to change for you. And when you set up the structure and the routine, it can allow for a little more allowance for the change to occur, because then you have a foundation and the ability to return to center. Our structure and ritual and spiritual practice enables you to stay here in your heart and in your presence and integrate and bring things to the 0 point field. So let's see what the book would like to share with us, this wisdom. You are reminded of the importance of taking time to pause and connect with your higher self and your core beliefs, a time to sort through mental clutter and noise and come back to a state of inner peace. Without a regular spiritual practice, life becomes more frantic, unfocused, and harder than it needs to be. Spending time in quiet contemplation, joyous singing, chanting, or prayer, all are recommended. It can be done alone or with others, but regularity and adding structure to your routine will bring maximum benefits and well-being. Without spiritual focus and a practice to support it, we can quickly lose our direction and become distracted and out of harmony, forgetting our true nature as a child of God. It also can be a way to nourish ourselves, filling up our own cup so we can serve others better, having received what we need first. I'm going to say that part again, having received what we need first, right? Not from a selfish place. I'm going to reread that sentence. It also can be a way to nourish ourselves. Nourish yourself. A spiritual practice also helps us reaffirm your daily what we believe. So it helps you. I want you to put this in the first person. It helps you. I reaffirm daily what I believe, what you believe, and helps in my commitment to living a sacred life. In your commitment to living a sacred life. Remember, we were talking about that sacred union as well. It's that you are that God. I encourage you to look up the word sacred and the definition of it, and the root of it, the etymology of it. It may surprise you because you are sacred. You are the sacrament. Okay. How might you commit to living a sacred life, a peaceful life, a happy life, and let go of all these unnecessary pressures you place on yourself, or that society places on you, or your spouse or children or others, right? I've witnessed a friend of mine express her frustration and feeling unappreciated during this holiday season, trying to make it just so. And it's a reminder to me that when we lose sight, right, we've fallen out of our ritual and practice and why we do what we do. We can cause our own chaos. We contribute to our own discord. And then that energy takes on a whole nother momentum. Where I touched base with my brother and we were just laughing and like, oh God, how we love our traditions. It's not even about the gifts. Like we don't really care about the gifts. We do a little gift exchange, almost like a family white elephant. But it's in the gatherings. If we didn't have those rituals, our holiday rituals would be very different. And even my nieces, they've embodied that too, where the majority of us, as we love the first 2 days of our ritual on the 23rd and 24th, all of us really, really appreciate coming together Christmas morning, having brunch. It's all my siblings and nieces, and coffee, and opening, just this quiet time of just coming together. Coming together. So our rituals, your rituals, become important because it does more than just the act of making tamales in my case. It brings us together. It brings my cousins together, friends together. It brings us all together, right? So your daily ritual brings you together in alignment with God, the God that lives within you. Think about what you currently do to connect, offer thanks, ask for guidance, or listen to spirit. It may be this is a call to continuation of those actions, or a suggestion to adapt or start something new. Sometimes we can say prayers on automatic pilot, reciting well-known words without much conviction, but to be conscious of every word we utter or think takes prayer into a different level of communication. And remember how I was just talking about I could make my coffee on automatic pilot. And when I become aware, I take time and I thank the water. Because without the water, I don't have my coffee. I think every little aspect on the abundance in my life and resources in my life and everything in between that made having my cup of coffee available to me every day. Even with the Nespresso machine, like someone created that, they created the pods, right? All these magical things and inspirational things that allowed that cup of coffee to be in front of me that I enjoy almost every single day. Do not take any aspect of creation for granted. Someone created the glass cup, the mason jar, and many of us use it in different ways. The eyeglasses to see with clarity or to protect the eyes. Do not take these things for granted. The clothes on your back, the roof over your head, no matter what it is. Even if you're homeless, like meaning you don't have an actual structure, but maybe you created one in the trees. Like to be in that much gratitude for nature, like thank you that I was able to build this shelter today to keep me protected from the elements, right? I found water today. Someone gave to me today. I could eat today. Like bring it all the way down. And then what I also add in there, and it doesn't have to be this long out thing. If I can't think of every aspect that got resources and food on my table, I even just say, and thank you for all the aspects in between that I may not be aware of, right? Like the truck driver, the fuel, the sun, the minerals, the earth, the ground, all those aspects, the elemental kingdom that creates things into form and holds the structure, right? And holds the structure of form. And just thank the light of God, because that's within you too. Without this form, I would not be able to enjoy my cup of coffee. I would not be able to have this experience of even connecting with you here. None of us would be having this experience without form and creation and the ability to hold it. And that ritual, that sacred ritual and spiritual practice, for those of you deepening and know you have a deeper calling on this planet right now, the ability to work with the universal rays, the ability to work in co-creation and to hold the creation within the 7 activities of creation that the Elohim have brought us, that requires ritual and practice. No different than any of you that have a task that you've mastered, right? Maybe you are an expert at building, you mastered that. Maybe you're a chef and you mastered cooking. You could even be an in-home chef. Like you didn't have to have formal study, but you could master it, right? Maybe you train animals and you've mastered that. It shows up. You have to hold the vision, the consistency, the constancy, and you do it with love, right? You do it with love. So all of you right now are actively creating and you don't even realize it. Imagine when you realize it and you really come online with what you are working with in the higher aspect of yourself before it's even come into form. Your spiritual practice can assist you creating the structure of your light body and the routine to allow the light to come in as you release the old aspects of yourself. The routine of being in gratitude and truly meaning it from the depths of your heart. Okay. And you will know, something in you will be ignited, something will shift in you. It may be overnight, it may be subtle, it may be over a year or two's time. Your soul will know. Just keep going. Follow your heart and enjoy the journey. Enjoy the landscape. Enjoy it all. Go to the ocean, go to nature, enjoy this life. Because you are God, you take God light with you anywhere you go, so enjoy it. Anything done with intention is highlighted today. It could be via lighting a candle. Okay. Lighting a candle. To remember a loved one. Painting a mandala, doing a good deed to help another, observing silence. Taking a mindful walk where every sense is alive to what wishes to be shown, or taking time to count your blessings and thank God for all you have. You may find it helpful to use tools to help still your mind, deepening your practice. These may include crystals, aromatherapy oils, prayer books, healing tinctures, incense, and more. Setting up an altar in your home or workplace can also be creative and conducive environment. Fill this with meaningful things that can help you connect. Photographs, artwork, statues, these things simply act as keys to help you bring you into deeper awareness, offering your senses cues that are helpful. Offering your senses cues that are helpful. Churches and places of worship have always been adorned with beauty. It is a way to celebrate God, but here, no middleman is needed. And you create a direct and meaningful connection that enriches you deeply, right? You create your personal altar. It should reflect who you are, what brings you joy, what brings you connection. Okay. You are also reminded that spiritual practice is about how we conduct ourselves and how we live our life. To make our life a living testament to what we would hold true and to honor, it is the biggest way we can demonstrate our practice every day. To live as Jesus would. To live as Jesus would. Right? Now, if that doesn't resonate with you, maybe it's something else. Maybe it's Buddha. Or maybe it's different. Maybe there's someone else in your life that embodied these attributes and showed grace and kindness. Maybe Mother Teresa comes to mind. Maybe Magdalene comes to mind. I don't know what lights you up, what keeps you on your path of light, but you know. You know. So create your space to connect deeper with you and deeper with God. It's your relationship. And allow it to unfold and grow. Right? Because the way you connected 5 years ago, 10 years ago, hopefully you've grown since then, is different today. While the sum of the structure perhaps has grown or maybe expanded, but yet the routine and practice of your spiritual practice is very present. Now, I can recognize that some of you, myself included, have fallen away from your daily spiritual routine. And it's understandably so, because there's been so much shift and change and fluidity and intensity and ups and downs and ebbs and flows of emotions and feeling good and feeling down. And the body's been processing quite a bit. But when you stay in some sense of spiritual practice, you can stay centered and return to your heart, activating your light body and your shields and calling on God to assist you in navigating these changes with ease and grace. Okay? So I encourage you, if you haven't already, to develop a practice that is unique for you and starts your day off right. Because as we transition and prepare for 2024, because this is when I've been doing these readings in 2023. Things are potentially going to be bumpier than before for some of you. And for some of you, it's going to have a little more ease and grace. But you have your divine will and the power to yield whatever you would like. So go inward, create your space to connect and pray. Align yourself to your higher aspects and treat each day with the innocence of that childlike quality of wonder and awe. It's been an honor to be on this journey with you. And we're still more to come as we transition and I transition into other content that's been on my mind and creative ideas. I'm Gina, Soul Inspired Reflections. Be sure to like and share this video. You never know who it may assist in the future. And I look forward to my next channeling and reading with you all. All right, much love to all of you.